everyone, welcome to the video. Today I've got a 2009 Lincoln MKT. This is a pretty special vehicle to me because it does belong to one of my former elementary school teachers many years ago. That was 30 plus years ago. She's long since retired, but I do see her on occasion, and she found out that I was doing detailing here on the side, and so she asked me if I could take care of her vehicle here. As you can see by these interior shots, it's not in too bad a shape. It just needs a little TLC. I'm going to give this thing a level 2 on the outside, a level 2 on the inside. I'm going to hand wash this vehicle. I'm going to clay bar it. I'm going to iron decontaminate. I'm going to put some sealant on the outside, some protection. Then I'm going to work on this carpet here that needs a little bit of love. It needs a good vacuuming, not too much, but there is some dust inside. Then I'm going to really hit these stains. She's questioning whether or not I'll be able to get the stains out, and I think I'm going to deliver some pretty amazing results. Hopefully you enjoy the video.
I'm starting out the exterior of this vehicle, giving the door jambs and wheels a pre-rinse. The door jambs were loaded with dust from years of not being cleaned. This is fairly common in the rural area that I live in. This is an up-close view of me going after that funky-looking bird dropping that I showed in the beginning of the video. I'm hitting it really hard with my pressure washer, but it's awfully stubborn, and I'll get that last little spot off when I do the hand wash. To get the stuck-on brake dust and dirt, I'm using my foamer with some P&S Brake Buster, diluted about 2 to 1. The foaming action allows the chemical to work for longer, and it's also real satisfying to watch the foam trickle down the tires. I'm also spraying a little concentrated P&S on here to really work the grime on the rubber part of the tires. The first brush I have is my stiff bristle tire brush to work the rubber on the tire. The average daily driver doesn't pay much attention to the look of their tires, but the extra attention paid to the tires will pay off in the end when we dress them. It isn't until that step is completed that people realize how much tires help make the vehicle look finished. The next brush uses a flexible one with long bristles that can work the inside of the rims and fit into that tight area behind the brake caliper. This type of brush is really a must-have to get your tires super clean. With the tires complete, now it's time for some foamy goodness. I'll allow this foam to work its magic, pulling down the next layer of grime that wasn't removed by the pre-rinse. While this happens, I'll go around with my detail brush, hitting all the nooks and crannies that my cleaning mitts won't effectively reach. Luckily for me, this is a light colored paint and a cool day, so I can move right into the gentle hand wash without doing another rinse of the vehicle. I'll use my 3 different mitts to get the driver's side of this vehicle done before getting them rinsed properly and moving on to the passenger side. With the hand wash complete, it's time to rinse the vehicle of that foam, making sure to thoroughly rinse all the cracks and crevices, and don't forget the door jambs as well. While I was hand washing the vehicle, the paint did feel a little rough, so I'm going to decontaminate the vehicle with some iron remover. You can see from this close-up the purple tint to the paint as the remover melts away that decontamination. I let that remover sit for a few minutes before giving the vehicle its third rinse of the day. The next step of decontamination is the clay bar. I'm using a very light-duty clay bar with some soapy water to remove any remaining particles left on the paint. There shouldn't be too much left after all the previous steps, but this will make the paint super smooth. Then I'll give it one final rinse here before moving on to the drying stage with my microfiber towel. I get the vehicle moved into the shop, and then I finish the drying with some forced air to blow out the lines and crevices in the paint. Now that the exterior is completely clean, I'll tackle the inside. I got the front seats removed in the vehicle, and I'm able to move around inside pretty easily to get all parts of it clean. There wasn't a lot of garbage in the car, but there were some items under the seats that the owner wasn't able to reach. To do a more thorough job, I'm going to remove some of this trim from the door jamb to get it vacuumed underneath. Since it's still warm outside, I'm really able to get these floor mats clean with the pressure washer. The floor mats were loaded with dirt that I couldn't get out with just the vacuum. Even though the owner did a great job of keeping the vehicle clean, she just wasn't physically able to do the vacuuming needed. Just look at how dirty the water is coming from this mat as I pressure wash it. This driver's side floor mat was by far the dirtiest one. Just look at how filthy that water is that's pushed out of those carpet fibers. This floor mat probably took me a good 10 to 15 minutes of just constant pressure washing. I kept going with that final rinse until I saw the water that came out of it was perfectly clear. Once all the floor mats were thoroughly cleaned, I pulled out the Bissell extractor so I could pull out as much water as possible so that they would dry much more quickly. Once the floor mats were done, I moved to the inside of the vehicle. This vehicle is unusual as it had light colored carpet. Almost every vehicle I work on nowadays has that dark carpet to hide the stains. So this allowed the stains to show, and it also made my job much more satisfying as I knew right where to focus my efforts, and it allowed me to give the carpet a great transformation. Now there are 2 spots in this driver's well that I pulled out the steamer to hit and try to remove, but they just would not come out. I tried a couple of different cleaners along with that steam, and I still had no luck. The divider in this middle row of seats have a couple of big stains here you can see, and boy it's so satisfying to get these 2 stains removed. They come out pretty much completely, and this looks almost new when I'm finished. This passenger well is probably the area that I was most disappointed with as I did the detail on this vehicle. You can see along the right side where the passenger step in right there where I'm hitting that part of the vehicle was pretty heavily stained there just from the foot traffic over the years. And with the light carpet, sometimes once those stains have been set for so long or allowed to sit for so long, they really do discolor the fibers themselves. And I try to hit it numerous times. You can see I'm pulling a lot of dirt out right there with that extractor. I hit it a bunch of different times, but the end result looks okay. Not as clean as I would have liked, but I definitely was not looking at trying to spray the carpet. There is that carpet paint or spray that you can use to make it look new again, but I wasn't about to go down that path with this vehicle. This is the most satisfying stain for me. It looks like some spilled hot chocolate. Fortunately, the stain must have been fairly new, so I was able to get it almost completely removed. You'll be able to see a slight outline of it still remaining once I finish the extraction process. And again, this is the issue with white carpet. If those stains sit for too long of a period, they set themselves into the fabric and are impossible to completely remove. With the seats removed from the vehicle, I'm really able to cover them with my CarPro inside. I use a stiff bristle brush to agitate them for a period of time. Then I use a microfiber cloth to wipe them clean. They don't look too dirty, but once I pull out that yellow microfiber you see in the background there, I wipe them down and you'll see just how much dirt I'm able to lift from these vinyl/leather seats. I show you here that this microfiber is perfectly clean when I start wiping down. I'll wipe the backrest of this seat, then the bottom of the seat, and you'll see just how much dirt I was able to remove. Look at how nasty that is. Next, I'll use a pretty similar process on the trim as I did on the seat itself. It needed a pretty standard cleaning. I apply a liberal amount of the CarPro inside, agitate it with my detail brush. It foams up nicely here. It loosens up any stuck-on bits and pieces. I also will pull out the steamer to some parts of the door that had some dirtier spots or stains on them. And then I'll follow up with a general purpose microfiber towel and some forced air to make sure that everything was dry and clean. The center armrest you can see is nice and shiny, so I know it's going to be dirty. Again, I spray a liberal amount of the CarPro inside on it, and then I agitate it here with a little bit stiffer bristle brush than the soft one that you see in the background. Back and forth, it foams up really nicely, and I think you'll be pretty impressed with how much dirt I'm able to remove from this center armrest. It really doesn't look dirty if you just look at it with your naked eye. Now that the seats are cleaned, I'm going to give them some protection and kind of bring them back to life a little bit. You can see I've got some Lexol leather conditioner there to treat the seats and make them soft and supple again. The trim gets protection as well. I use my 303 Aerospace Protectant to restore it and give it some UV protection. And as I say in all my videos, this is such an easy product to use. You're really missing out if you're not using 303 to protect the trim and plastic and even vinyl in your vehicles. With the interior clean, now moving back to the outside of the vehicle, I've got to protect this paint that I have washed and decontaminated. I am using some Turtle Wax Hybrid Solutions Graphene Flex Wax here, just a couple of sprays per panel, and then a microfiber cloth to wipe it down, and it's going to give it some great protection. As I said way back when, cleaning the tires once dressed, these are really going to make the car stand out. I'm applying some dressing to make them stand out against this light gray paint.
All right, well, I got this 2009 Lincoln MKT completed here for one of my former teachers. I'm sure hoping this makes the grade and she really appreciates and likes what she sees here. There were a couple little spots I wasn't quite able to get removed. You'll notice here this pink in the back that was kind of streaks down there. I hit it with the steamer, I hit it with some different cleaners, just wasn't able to get it removed. Can't win them all. These one thing I did like though is these light carpets, which fairly unusual in vehicles nowadays. Most of the time you're going to get the real dark carpets. And there were a couple other little spots here in the front driver's well that you saw as I was doing the extraction that no matter what I did, they just wouldn't come. In fact, when I tried to use a steamer, they actually spread a little bit, so I stopped and cut my losses there. But they're covered up by the floor mat, so you can't really see them at all. So hope you enjoyed the video. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, keep it clean.